15 years, the damage that load shedding has brought to this economy has been incalculable.
The death toll from the recent floods in the South African province of KwaZulu-Natal has risen to 49.
After a fairly subdued night, the Knysna fires have begun to grow again.
We begin tonight with a nation already on edge in the coronavirus pandemic as protests turn violent.
London's burning and no one seems able to bring it under control.
You're listening to Off-Grid Survival, South Africa's first prepper podcast.
And we are your hosts, Brett and Ben.
Good afternoon, Ben. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks. After a little bit of exercise this morning, running around.
Thank you very much for coming and with your toys and sorting my garden out. The grass was getting a little bit long and my electric lawnmower just doesn't cope with the molehills.
Yeah, well, if I didn't help you now, I'd have to, when you got lost, I'd have to come with my chainsaw to cut down the trees. And
that's cool. I've got a compass, dude. But yeah, thank you very much for that. I believe we paid you with cake. So
very, very nice cake. Very nice.
So, yeah, what have you been up to? It's been a while since we recorded.
Yes. Last week I was camping. Yeah, and the days get fuzzy. I think we did a walk around town yesterday, and it was great fun.
Yeah. And I was also camping last week. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to the same camp that you were busy with. I had another one that I was involved with. But yeah, we also had great fun. Spent Saturday on the beach and did a bit of a beach cleanup in the area. The amount of litter that people leave on the beach is actually disgusting, but that's a topic for another day, I think.
Yeah, it comes off the sea, and some of it comes off land, being blown around.
There's a lot of beer bottles and stuff like that above the tide line, so probably fishermen from that area.
Or campers?
Possibly, yeah. Not the camping we were doing, unfortunately. We had a blast. Otherwise, it was a beautiful weekend. Got a little bit of hiking in, a little bit of camping in, and tested some Temo equipment.
Oh, nice!
Which was fun.
Yeah,
some of it worked, some of it didn't.
I was showing the guys I was camping with, the Rich Winds firelighters and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and how little you have to add kindling or.
No, those things are great. I also
awesome.
I demoed to my guys one strike with a ferro rod.
Yes.
And I got the thing lit, and they were like, "Oh, wow, man, that's so cool!" And I was like, "Yeah, no, it's just South African invention, and yeah, they're doing well. I'm happy to see he's getting into more and more shops every week." And on the Rich Winds, we had the draw a week ago for the lucky draw, and of all the people to win it, it was Walter, friend of the channel.
Well done, Walter.
It's sitting. The box is sitting here. I still need to send it off to him. We were just waiting for our caps to come in, which our caps have arrived.
I see Richmond's has changed some of their packaging as well.
Yeah, he's got a nice new recyclable packaging. So he's going with a printed cardboard, but unbleached or anything like that. Yes. So fully recyclable.
And it's also a smaller footprint than the older packaging.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, yeah, if you on the garden route, you'll definitely see those in stores and hopefully in Cape Town as well soon. Yeah, and anybody that wants to get hold of Richard, just go to richwinds.co.za. I'm sure you can check it on our Facebook as well. I'm always linking his stuff on our Facebook. So, yeah, if anybody wants to stock his stuff or wants to buy some of his stuff, just get hold of him.
Coming back to the camping side of things, I was thinking this last weekend, with having to pack the vehicle and unpack the vehicle and all that type of stuff. I camp a reasonable amount. I've grown up camping, and one of the things I was thinking about is we should actually talk about the lessons we've learned and the mistakes we make and the common mistakes we make. I mean, we're both gadget people.
Yeah.
And so you always want to take your gadgets just in case you might be able to try them,
Definitely.
And you end up taking a ton of stuff and never using it. It's like, I don't mind taking my power pack and my solar panel and not having to use it. or in this case, I thought I was going to use it, and only to discover they've put in solar where I was camping.
Oh,
now.
nice.
So normally you'd have to start a Jenny.
Yeah.
This time we had lights. It was awesome. But there's certain things like you taking your spare tire, driving, or your EDC stuff. I don't mind taking it. I don't mind bringing it back without using it. But there's other things you're like, okay, well, I don't know what the campsite's going to look like, so I pack in a portable table, like a fold-up table and this and that. You go with a whole car full of stuff, and you're mana alien in the car, but your car is full. And you literally, you camp, you might use like 2 pairs of jocks and a spare T-shirt and maybe some food and a bottle of water or something, and then you come home and you may as well not have taken any of the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. No, I definitely know what you mean there. I've got my little car, and I can fit everything I need into the boot. It's a 200-litre boot, and with this trip, I actually only took my one-man tent. Normally, when I go camping, I take my 3x3 meter dome.
Yes.
But for this trip, because we were relatively close to home and it was only 2 nights, I decided to try the small tent. I've only used it once before. And the disadvantage, obviously, with having a smaller tent is that I'm nearly 50, and getting changed, I can't stand up in a small tent. It's a little bit of a mission, but I like to have the space with the big tent, because then I normally take a stretcher with. This time I was sleeping on an airbed, but on the ground.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I slept pretty well. Sleeping bag and stuff like that, I've got a choice. I didn't really know which one to take, so I just took like the middle weather one, the camping one, as opposed to my lightweight hiking one. And it was so humid and hot that I actually didn't end up using the sleeping bag. I just had it open on the airbed. The one thing I did forget, and I always do this, is I always forget my pillow. So I ended up having my towel rolled with the jacket inside, and I used that as a pillow.
I don't ever take a pillow.
I like my comforts.
I've slept on...
I'm a middle-aged fat man, dude.
I've taken my gumboots before and put them end to end, push them into the side where the legs are, and then use that as a pillow. And I've stuffed stuff in other things, any type of stuff bag, like where your sleeping bag comes in, you shove your soft stuff in it, and that's your pillow.
No, definitely. That when we used to hike, that's exactly what we did. You use your stuff bag from your sleeping bag as your pillow.
Yeah.
But otherwise, gear-wise, I took the small little portable gas stove, not a KDAC or anything like that, and we ended up using that stove quite a lot. I've got an ammo box that like all my gadgets go in.
Yeah.
So spare rope, my axe, spare pegs, mallet, billy kit, the whole lot all fits nice and neatly into an ammo box. And like I said, the whole lot just fitted in there. But yeah, like you said, half the stuff I never even used.
Well, not using is fine. So you go to a place and you discover that they supply the axe, the firewood, all that. It's awesome. It's like, but you still want a standardized kit. Like I've also got an ammo box. I've got a few now. So I'm setting up my kit, basically the family kit and a personal one.
Yeah.
So that you basically, when you pick up your personal one, it's got a little stove, the one that takes the little gas bottles.
Yes.
I've got a mini one, and it's got 3 gas bottles in. Then it's got the kettle that I can put on the fire with the percolator attachments inside, some mugs, oil, blah, 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 dishwashing liquid, all that other stuff, so that I know it's already set. So that goes with me whether I'm going individual camping or family camping. The other expanded bit is so that I got plates and this and whatever else, because I've got my own in my EDC. I've got a little plastic plate, so I don't need to take that. So then all I do is grab my crate and grab my EDC or grab bag, and that's got everything I need. From my grab bag's got a saw, it's got extra pegs, it's got a little trowel in case you need to go bossy. It's got, I'm sorted. It's got tins of bully beef in it. It's got everything,
Yep.
And so those things are all there, And then what I do is I've got a tog bag type of thing, and that's got my hammock, top, sleeping bag liner, that type of thing. And all you literally do is I've got a little stuff bag that I brought from KOA, and I got my jocks and socks in the one. A different color one's got like the sleeping shorts and what's it called, sweatpants.
Yeah. Track pants.
Yeah, they got another name, but I can't remember now. And that's also in a stuff bag. And then I got a spare set of clothes that's always in that thing. So if I forget or something goes wrong in my planning, I've got that. And then what I do is I count out the amount of t-shirts I need, and I shove it in there, and basically that's done. I got everything else ready. But like this last camp, because we're dealing with so many different people and logistics and stuff, I don't even bother setting up a tent. I pull in, there's a place I park so that my vehicle's nose up, and I put my driver's seat down, and it can slide all the way back, and I'm lying almost horizontal. And it's so, all I do is I sleep in a little sleeping bag liner. It's thin, it works perfectly, and that's me. I'm sorted for the night.
Yeah, you've got the advantage there that you've got a bigger vehicle than I do. I can't do that in my car. My seat goes quite far back, but the comfort level, it's not great. But yeah, the other thing is with those ammo boxes, a trick I learned from my father-in-law was if you turn your ammo box over, it's obviously injection molded plastic, and there's cutouts in the bottom. And on each corner, those cutouts are deeper, and you can actually get a plank of wood cut to the same shape. So what he used to do, okay, he had a Landy, so he had a bit more space and stuff, but he had 4 legs made.
Okay.
That just slot into those 4 corners, and it turns that ammo box into something that's now at waist height that you can use as a table if you need to.
Yes.
And it just brings everything up off the ground, which is a great idea and something I'd recommend to anybody to do.
Well, what I tried this weekend, my wife bought me a little camping table.
Okay.
So it's like 300 mil off the ground, and it's a little fold-out jobby, super light, and it was cool. I set up my little gas stove, I had my little table there, put my water on to boil, and it just gets it out the dirt.
Yes.
So it's awesome. So I got a little, always in my vehicle is a little tripod chair, so the one with the 3 legs.
Yeah.
And I've gone hunting with them, I've gone hiking with them. It's just strapped to the outside of the bag. And one of the things I was looking at is one of these like glamping chairs. There's actually got a back on it. I just need to see what their weight is, because man, one of the guys I know I've hiked with, he got his and put it out, and I tried it. Sitting in a proper chair, like 3-4 days into a hike, is luxury beyond.
Yeah, no, I would never even think of carrying something like that on a hike.
Oh, my word.
No, just the weight of that, because that's got to be close to 1 kilo, if not more.
Yeah, some of them, I don't think they're even that heavy, but it's, you also got to look where you're going to carry your weight, Yeah. There's other things that we carry way too much of. And I'm guilty of the thing, you plan for a hike. The one hike I did over the Kamanasi, I weighed my jocks, my socks, every single thing, the thing of toothpaste, the whole lot, and I worked out every weight there, trying different combinations.
Yeah.
And then we normally on like day 3 or 4 we do a wash day. So you're like, okay, I only need 3 pairs of jocks, and then day 3 I can wash them, then I can dry them out, and then I've got another 3 days of jocks, you know. And you work all these things out just so that you don't have to carry things you don't need to carry.
Yeah, hiking as opposed to camping it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
And especially in South Africa where we've got some really good trails, but if you're doing like the wild stuff like you've done, like the Cabanossi and stuff like that, What do you call it? The cabanossi? Cabanossi?
Kamanasi.
Kamanasi. I'm thinking of sausage again.
It's
I'm
a
hungry.
mountains there, a Union Dam.
Kamanasi, yeah. As opposed to cabanossi. That's pretty wild area, that. There's not much around. There's not really trails and stuff.
Well, the place we walked over was a water catchment area, so we had to get special permission and stuff, and people don't normally go there. So it's a beautiful grassland on top of a mountain. It was awesome, but it was hard walking. Some of our walking was completely off trail. Others, you have to follow the only service road. It's like a weird service road all the way up the mountain. It's 14 kilometers of uphill walking. And but absolutely beautiful. The last day we came down, we did the walk in the morning, and the farmer still said to us, we were our end point where we left the vehicles. He said, if you can't see my spot by 12 o'clock, you're not getting down the mountain in the daylight. Well, we were there at 12 o'clock and everything else, and so we started down. And what we didn't know is that the time before they had a flood, and basically it washed all the trails away. I think it took us, 8 hours to do 3Ks down this mountain, and it was like rock crawling and bouldering with backpacks on. So we had a part of our team up ahead scouting a trail, and the rest of it just helping the people that are less mobile and less sure-footed, And we came down nighttime, dark. We work in groups, so each group manages their water and stuff like that. And like the group I was in, we decided we're going to keep 1 liter of water one side in case we have to deal with any emergency in the whole hike.
Yeah.
And we came down with 0 water except for that emergency water. And we had been out of water probably an hour or two, and you could smell the river as you're walking down in the dark. It's pitch black, only your headlamps. And the closer you get to the river, the more your mouth waters because you can smell this water. So I've got a little collapsible mug in my chest rig. And so when we got to the river, I just opened the cup and start clapping that river,
So you didn't use a water filter or anything?
No,
That's good enough straight to drink.
Comes straight out of the mountains.
Yeah. I remember hiking in the Cedarburg, and you spend 3-4 days up above the Shell Band.
Yeah.
And you come off the Shell Band, you get into the river valley, and that water you can smell it. That's quite bizarre, but there's nothing more satisfying than drinking out of a mountain stream.
Yeah.
It's even with all those tannins, and it looks like a cup of rooibos tea, but it's got a certain sweetness to that water that you never get out of a tap.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that were hiking with us, he had one of these soya filters. I've seen the filter on your desk there.
Yeah.
And what he does is he bought the soya filter because he can drink any water, but whenever he changes the place where he gets the water, it upsets the system, the stomach and stuff. So what he's found that if he uses the soya filter, because it's a very fine micron, he can swap between types of water, so river water, tap water, tank water, whatever else, and it doesn't affect him.
Okay.
But so if he's drinking river water, and after a couple of days he's fine, but then he'll swap to town water, and immediately his stomach's all gone again.
Okay.
So he just found that having that filter just saved him the pain and laden.
No, definitely. Especially if you're on like a 7-day or something like that, then you don't want to end up with jipper guts halfway through that.
Well, the group we go with, the one guy had I think jippers for about 6 days out of the thing, and so he learned how to do a bossy properly and quickly, because you don't, when it starts knocking, you don't have much time to prep. And in the Karoo, they don't have trees to sit on branches and that type of thing, or very big bushes to hide away from, and everything's got thorns. So you have to know how to do the thing quickly, and then disguise it afterwards.
Oh no, man! No, never. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I would rather turn around and go back to the car, or if you can. But yeah.
So in your camping experience and stuff over the years, how has your methodology changed, and what thought process did you implement to get there?
So I've been camping my entire life. I used to work for outdoor companies.
Yes.
I worked for Camp and Climb and some other companies back in Cape Town in the day. So I've always been fairly cognizant of my gear and my equipment and that sort of thing. And having been a scout, a bit of be prepared and the minimalist thing from hiking, that came into it. So I've never taken huge amounts of gear. I always try and pare it down as little as possible. But like you said, we like our gadgets, and it's very easy to take too much stuff. I've been on, years ago when I was a member of the Mineralogical Society, going on camping trips up to Springbok to go visit all the old copper mines up there. And I had a Hyundai bakkie from work.
Yes.
And for two of us, I packed the entire bed of that bakkie. Okay. For a week. And I had gazebo, I had folding chairs, I had, the 3x3 tent, I had tables, you name it, we had it.
No panning gear.
No, there's no gold up there.
Pan for heavy stuff.
No, we were looking for mineral specimens and that sort of thing, yeah. But yeah, we took literally everything, including the kitchen sink with. And as I've got older, I've realized that 90% of that equipment is not necessary.
Yeah.
Look, it all depends how much comfort you want. And who I'm camping with depends what I take. But yeah, I'm down to my tent, my sleeping bag, my ammo box, and depending on the situation, a stretcher or an airbed. And then obviously first aid kit and EDC.
Yeah. Yeah, again, for myself as well, I've camped a lot. In the beginning when you're young, your parents do all the packing and thinking and whatever, you're just having fun. But as you age, you start thinking what you want to take and what you want to do. So, we used to camp at the sea a lot, so it's fishing rods and that.
Yeah.
And we grew up like around being prepared. I didn't know about scouts. So, but I love gadgets and I like being prepared. So the problem is you need to be prepared, not to the max.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we also push here with the off-grid survival is you prep your mind, because a lot of it is in your mind. You don't have to take 15 knives because you're probably not going to need 15 knives for a weekend.
Yeah.
But if you get stranded and you get one knife and you know how to make a knife, or improvise, that one knife can turn into however many you need, So the knowledge is better than overloading yourself. Although I still want to take 15 knives. Just I need to go super light or something.
I think I had 3 with me on this camp, so you normally got 3 on you every day.
Yeah, and like you said, you got your axe in your ammo crate.
Yeah.
My car's like an armory. I think I got 4 pungas, an axe, 4 of one type of panga. Then I got kukri panga and so on and so forth. I think I took my 4-pound hammer out, and I've got a lot of different things stashed in my car.
Difference between having a 4x4 and a little 1 liter Suzuki, dude.
No, well, I discovered that floor mats hide a lot of things. What people don't know, they can't fret about.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's also good to just get away camping occasionally. Even though in my particular case I was with 10 kilometers from home, and I could quite easily have walked home if I needed to. Just being out of the usual surrounds, away from work and away from the normal hustle bustle of everyday life, was awesome. It was just nice to just get away and have a bit of different scenery and clear the mind a bit.
Yes.
And I think that is as important as any type of prepping we do. And obviously camping is a way of teaching yourself that in a bug out situation, what gear are you going to need? So if you're used to camping, you already know, okay, when I go camping, I need X, Y, Z. If I'm bugging out and I'm going to have to set up a shelter or something, this is the equipment I need.
Yeah.
So having that camping ammo box, like we were talking about, already kitted out, is essentially a type of bug out bag.
Yeah. Well, it also depends who you're camping with. Like if I'm camping with my family, I'd be hard pressed to convince my wife to sleep under a tarp. You know, just
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Not unless things went horribly wrong and all that. That said, we went on the camp the one time, took all the stuff, and then there was a miscommunication, so we didn't bring a pot or any of the bigger stuff. Or my grab bag, I had my little camping set that I normally use, so I just used that for everything. So we were fine, but somehow our wires got crossed, so
yes.
We missed out. So she had to go do a little bit of shopping, but but yeah, it's like a friend of mine and I, when we camp, we've done it a few times. We'll just do backwards type cooking and stuff. So it's just basically you have a fire and you just stand your veggies around the fire.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, we don't even do tinfoil so much, but you can tinfoil it up. And this last camp now, we did a few of us together, a few of the adults. We just basically put everything in tinfoil, shoved it in the...
Oh, like a pressure pack?
Yeah, no, we just individually, sweet potatoes, this, that, sweet corn, the whole lot, shoved them in the fire. It was quite a nice camp place, so a fireplace. So it made it harder in a sense, because if you were out in the boonies, you would have dug under the coals a bit, shoved your stuff under and covered it again. But this is a fireplace, so there's no digging into it.
Yeah.
So, but the stuff came out awesome. And there's no mess, no fuss. So a lot of the stuff you do, you have basic tools because you don't need anything more. You have a piece of meat, some veggies, and that's be done.
Well, one of the things I saw talking about cooking when we were camping, that one of the other guys had was it's called a bry mat. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a silicon
thing,
mat.
Yeah.
It goes straight on the coals. He had it on a grid.
No, you shouldn't put it on the coals,
but
because silicone does burn.
Yeah, but you can put it just above the heaters,
Yes.
and they were frying chicken on that.
Mm.
I was really impressed. I need to look at getting myself one of those. And with a lightweight little wire rig grid that you can put together, I've seen those ones where it's like the copper tube with the bits of wire that you can build a small little grid. You can actually do quite a lot with those two things together.
Yeah, you can.
It's definitely something I need to look at getting.
But it's been a process over time, and I'm not really there yet. But I started applying it when we were hunting a lot. Is basically my brother and I walk, and each of us have our pack, and the packs we self-sufficient. So you're carrying everything you need. So even if you had to spend the night out, you got stuck out there, whatever, you sorted. And it came in handy the one time. It was howling wind and it's freezing rain, and he managed to harvest a kudu.
Nice.
But the closest we could get with a vehicle was like almost 2 Ks. So we drove around the farm trying to find how we can get closer to this vehicle, or to the kudu. And eventually, I mean, he shot it at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I think we eventually got him out and back to the farm. We got back to the farm at 10 o'clock at night.
Oof.
And if he didn't have his survival stuff with him, he'd have got hypothermia.
Yeah.
Because it was freezing cold. So he had all his gas stuff and whatever, so he could cook himself a meal. And eventually we found a way to drive right up next to the kudu,
Okay.
But it took a while.
Yeah, yeah.
And that became very apparent that it's useful having your stuff, because we'd start walking at 4:30 in the morning, and we'd often get back from walking the whole day, and it would be 8-9 o'clock at night, and you got to carry everything with you. The fact that we're coming back to a nice campsite,
Yes.
Like a little chalet type thing, was awesome, but ultimately our whole plan always was to be able to do a field camp as a base camp and then work from there.
Yeah.
And try and get to experience what, a lot of the American guys have with large wildlife areas. Like you go in, you set up your camp, and then you radiate out from there. And you're always bringing your stuff back to that camp. But yeah, that it taught us a lot of what you need to do, and like in the Karoo, you've got to carry water. You're not just finding water.
There's very little available. It's semi-desert, so
yeah. So it's interesting, but yeah, when you've been out all day, and most of the stuff we do is winter, beginning of spring, and you basically hydrate yourself stupid the night before, and in the morning you drink, and then you basically use as little water as possible during the day.
okay.
And we both walked with about 2 liters of water on us, and it's for the obvious cup of coffee at lunchtime and
Yeah.
that type of thing, because you have to, you have minor luxuries.
No, and that's what makes camping fun and hiking fun, is that you can do something that's quite rough, and you can camp rough, you can camp wild, but having those small luxuries makes all the difference. Whether it's one of these nice little pop-out pour-overs for your coffee and actually having real coffee, or even just having a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the prepping side. In your EDC, if you're making your own MREs, have something nice in there. Some that little luxury can give you a boost so quickly and make you ready to go and carry on going, that it is often overlooked, but it is essential.
Yes. Also, talking about coffee and that, instant coffees, even the nice tasting instant coffees, I was thinking about it, is like basically it's a once use scenario.
Yeah.
If you have ground coffee and you brew it properly, it might not taste wonderful in the especially for people that are snobbish about their coffee and stuff. But if you're in a situation where you're trying to push your coffee experience for as long as possible when you can't get any, you could just add little bits of fresh into the grounds and just carry on using it to extract as much flavor as possible.
So you can do the same with tea bags. You just dry it out and you reuse it. It's weaker and weaker as you go.
Yeah.
Because you're extracting all the goodness out of it, essentially, every time you chuck it into boiling water. But it is doable, but yeah, only to a point.
Yeah. Well, with tea, if you don't use one tea bag per cup of tea, because most people drink their tea way weaker than they should. If you take 2 tea bags, gooi it in 2 liters of water and boil it. Okay, so you're brewing the teas, just and not like a pour over. You get nice strong tea, and use way less tea bags than just using one per cup.
Yeah, a lot of our culture has developed, especially in the last 60 years, to a disposable society, and having one-use things, single-use plastics and tea bags and stuff that you just throw away once you've used it, that didn't exist 50, 60 years ago. And we've moved away from that culture of using your stuff till you can't use it anymore, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
It drives my wife absolutely crazy. She was having a go at me the other day. She's like, do we really need to keep every single yogurt container?
Not every single one.
Yeah. So yeah, I always look, okay, cool, it's something to store something in.
Yes.
But yeah, I do have to empty the cupboard occasionally. I do know that now.
Or put stuff in the yogurt containers. Just put a tin of a tin of beans in the yogurt container so that at least it looks like it's being used.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get away with that one. But you're talking about like the kind of gear to carry with you hiking and camping and stuff. So as I've been saying for the last couple of episodes, I ordered some stuff on Temu. So I've got some of it here in front of me. And you're now talking about about weight and stuff. So this is a gadget that I keep seeing advertised that I think is quite cool, but you actually don't need it. And it's a tripod maker, if I can put it that way, for hanging a kettle or something over a fire. It's cut out of stainless steel, and it comes in a nice little velvet bag, but it probably weighs about 150 grams.
Yeah,
and
so
on a 5-day hike or something, you wouldn't want to be taking this. So I'm going to just pass it over to you, and you, as an engineer, you can tell me what do you think of that.
Well, it's a nice little thing. I've seen the guys do stuff like this. It's cheaply made, but like you said, it's got weight to it.
It's very chunky, isn't it?
Yeah. The only problem I can see with stuff like this is if you're in the Karoo,
finding 3 sticks that are the same length.
Well, finding 3 sticks that's not trying to bite you to the same length and the size. Now, if you're going to go through those 3 to find those 3 sticks, you could use anything to stick it together.
And that is exactly the point I wanted to make. That with a piece of paracord or a piece of twine or even a piece of baling wire, you can make a tripod, and it weighs a hell of a lot less than what that weighs. You don't need to have this. Essentially, is a gadget.
Yeah, I don't know that it weighs. I don't know that it weighs 100 grams, but
it's weight. It's unnecessary weight.
I mean, I bought a little thing one time. It's a sprung-loaded fork type thing. So you get a stick and you compress this. You stick it through a couple of holes that line up because you've compressed the spring, and when you let go, it grabs the front.
Okay.
And now you got like a braai fork, or and it's a nice idea. But then still, if I go through all that effort to find a stick, I can whittle whatever I want on the front of it. So then you're like, okay, now I have to carry a gadget specifically for that one thing. And it's not like a thing that can do multiple tasks. When you can make it yourself, you can make it anytime. As again, I think I've mentioned Zach Fowler, that Fowler's maker in Mischief a few times. Him and the guys that he film with, they will go start a fire and everything else, and then the first thing he fashions himself is a pair of chopsticks. So takes it to 2 twigs, make a pair of chopsticks, and now you can pick up coals, you can pick up your food, you can turn your food over on the grid.
I've never thought of using chopsticks in that way. I suppose it's a Western failing.
With Chinese, they use their chopsticks for tons of
everything.
Stuff. Yeah, and so I mean, you think about you do vorse. They're like the zigzag vorse. You put 2 skewers all down through the zigzag so that everything stays together, and then you basically using chopsticks there.
Yes.
Not really, but it's the same type of concept.
Yeah.
The guys use chopsticks. They put it in the bottom of a wok, and they put stuff on it, and for steaming, so that it keeps it out of the bottom of the wok. If you got liquid in the bottom of the wok that you want to use to steam.
So what you're essentially saying is that a pair of chopsticks is going to be way more useful than this very funny looking spork.
Well, this funny looking spork is a spork is useful. Okay. It's got a spork one side and it's got a spoon the other side, which is very useful. It's the bunch of junk in between the two ends.
Cutouts.
it's got a cutout for a tin opener. I mean, bottle opener. Then it's got a long cutout, obviously for lightning stuff. Then it's got a hole with I don't know what on there. Then it's got a funny little cutouts for loosening nuts and stuff. And then it's got another cutout for goodness knows what. And so the problem is now you've weakened the crap out of this thing.
Exactly.
Now, I've seen ones like this that are titanium.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very thin, very, very light, and none of those funny little cutouts. It's wonderful because chopsticks are awesome. But if you know Chinese cuisine at all, okay, you'll notice people will hold a bowl and they'll work with the chopsticks at their mouth. And then you can sip out of the bowl. You're not worried about trying to pick up liquid with a chopstick.
Yeah.
Spoons are useful for what they're useful for. Chopsticks are awesome because they give you versatility that doesn't require you burning your fingers. You know, so you can reach into hot liquid, you can pick up a coal, you can do whatever.
Yeah. I think I'm going to start carrying chopsticks. You've convinced me.
Well, just make chopsticks.
Oh, why? If I can carry them.
Well, again, it comes back down
Yeah.
to the thing of if you know how to make it, you don't need to carry it.
You don't need to carry it.
Because if a person only ever carries stuff, the one day you need it and you forgot it at home, or you forgot to grab the bag, or they broke, you know, you need to know how to fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the top of a mountain one time, and it got a puncture in my car, my vehicle. Now, like a Wally, I hadn't checked my jack and stuff. And when I went to jack on my vehicle, I found that I had a road tire spare on the top of a mountain, and there was like a very worn down road tire, and my jack had leaked all its oil out.
Right, yeah.
So now my jack won't move. So I considered stealing oil out of the crankcase of my vehicle, which would have been interesting. And eventually I was like, wait a second, water works like it doesn't compress either.
Yeah.
So I just filled the jack full of water, and I was able to change my vehicle, my tire like that.
Okay.
But it requires you to apply a little bit of lateral thinking to a problem to work around it.
Yes.
So the more we exercise our brains thinking about stuff, you know, just for argument's sake, you have everything you need to camp. You pack all your stuff and you just leave half your stuff at home. Just, I really know I need that, you know, like not survival type need it, but like I really want it. But you leave it behind and you see if you can make do without it. And you put yourself in a position where it forces you to make do or find an alternative. And that type of thing, that type of doing stuff definitely enhances our appreciation for the gadget that we have.
Yeah.
And also it lets us figure out how to make the things.
Yeah. So that's kind of the reason why I took my 2-man tent and just airbed this time.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to now camping a bit more luxuriously that leaving the stretcher behind and leaving the big tent behind just to remind myself what it actually is like to sleep in a smaller shelter. And everybody that I was with had big 3x3 meter dome tents, and I was in my little 2-man dome, which took me like 10 seconds to pitch, which was awesome. But yeah, you got to test yourself.
We'll still get you under a bivvy.
I bought the hammock, dude. I've still used the hammock.
Do you have a top though?
I've got tops somewhere.
Oh, we'll sort you. So that's maybe something we can do. Oh, that's a off-air discussion.
We can go on a winter camp.
Yeah. Camping, I don't mind. Hiking in summer is just a no.
So I bought quite a few things on Temu. This one you haven't seen yet.
Okay.
This is one of those little survival card laser cutout pieces of stainless steel. Specifically a fishing one. Now, I'm not a fishing person. I don't eat fish. But you've fished and done a little bit of foraging along the coastline in your time. I want you to tell me how useful these fish hooks would be. and the spear points. Sorry, I'm trying not to laugh because I'm.
Okay, one the each of these.
I will be putting photos of all of these things on our Facebook page.
These little things need a little work, okay, to make them not cut the line when you wire them up. But here's the thing: as funny as these look,
Yeah.
imagine making a fish hook.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so these gives you a starting point, and this as much of these things aren't designed for making something that you're using every day. It's a little card that, I mean, I've got a few of these type of things in my.
That weighs about what, 10 gram?
Yeah, no, this is flippin' light as a.
It's about what, 1 mil thick.
And again, you're not going for shark, eh? You're trying to catch a little goby or something in a river or a little tilapia or something. So it looks quite nice. They've got an awl, so a needle that you can. It looks like you can. What is that? It's a funny little saw. It's got a trident style 3-point that you can actually probably wrap around a piece of wood and tie it fast. Then it's got a spear point. Yeah. Then it's got a saw. Then it's got a fine saw, like a very coarse saw and a fine saw. Then it's got a whole bunch of little bits and bobs that you can use. Like it looks like almost a double-sided needle. Then it's an awl, a bunch of
these
little
things
sharp things,
like spinners or something.
Possibly, I think possibly you could use them to actually make lures. There's a lot of stuff out there goes for shiny stuff.
Yeah,
I've seen. I haven't done it much. I've made my own lures for what was it, shad. You elf. You go into the whitewater, and you catch your. I think the limit is 4 shad or something. You catch it in 10 minutes. Yeah. But they go for the shiny thing in the water.
There's just some things on here that that I don't know if they were just trying to use up the excess space or whatever. But
like what?
These tiny little like needle things. I don't know what the point of those would be.
I have no clue what the point of those are. But here's the thing: is when you're looking for one of those things, you'll be very glad you had one.
Yeah. And the outside of this thing is actually serrated. I hadn't noticed that before.
Yes.
So I suppose it does have. You could do quite a bit with it.
Serrated there and serrated there and there. Yeah.
So yeah, it's different.
Well, it's probably got more uses than my ones because my ones they look like they've been powder coated.
Okay.
So I don't know how useful that is. So I've got a few different type similar to that, and again, it's a very lightweight future investment in case you ever need it. So
yeah, I think this thing cost me like $5.
Yeah, it's in my possibles bag, so I've got a thing for different ways of starting fire and whatever. And so it's just there. It lives there.
So, like I said, we're gadget guys, so we're always looking for new things. So here's something else. I know you've seen these before. They say they're diamond coated, but it's probably just corundum or something like that.
Wire saw.
Wire saws. So it's a twisted wire with a coating on it. And what I like about this one, the one I had previously had it looked like 2 key rings on the ends. This has actually got a rubber coating. Almost looks like heat shrink or something like that over the ends.
These things are limited benefit. They work better than trying to saw through with your fingernail. But if you have any other saw
and anything thicker than your wrist, you're going to really struggle.
Yeah. But then a lot thinner than
for cutting dead wood and that sort of thing, they do work.
Yeah.
But they don't last very long, unfortunately. They tend to heat up if you don't know what you're doing, and they can snap.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Don't go around corners too much. Don't put too much effort in. Let the movement cut it, unless the only thing with these things with such fine teeth is if you're going through wetwood,
It's going to block up.
Yeah, it just bungs up. And then,
So you mentioned something earlier with this one, in that even if you don't use it as a saw, you could use it as a snare.
yeah, snare or garrote or any of that type of thing, you know.
Well, hopefully not a garage, but
Well, here's the thing: is if you're keeping something on you for any purpose, it can be any purpose, you know.
Yes.
So if you have more than one purpose for a thing, it is better than having something, taking for argument's sake, that tripod thing.
yeah,
That's what is designed for, a tripod. So if you don't need a tripod, you book it. Okay, you can't use it for a tripod chair; it's not strong enough. So if you have this thing that you can use as a snare, you can use it as a garrote, you can use it as, you can wire up one of those or two of those hooks so that you don't get bitten off by an elf.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can use, plus a saw. So it's,
no, this is just on a meter, just under a meter.
what is it? Yeah, about 900 maybe.
So yeah, you could as a snare, it could work really well.
Yeah.
For rabbit or something small, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so, just as a piece of wire, or you can use it to make your tripod that you're so wanting. You just take
In an
these sticks
emergency,
and use that.
Yeah.
You can use it to hang your billy can, especially if you don't have that little rubberized stuff on the ends. There's lots you can use it for,
And it's lightweight.
and for me, the best type of gadget is one that you have lots of uses for,
Yeah.
that you can utilize.
Like I was saying earlier, single-use stuff is, if you can find multiple uses for something, it's always better.
Yeah.
Cool. Next in the gadget line, okay, I haven't opened this because it is a sealed package. This is essentially a life straw.
Okay.
I haven't used one before myself. I bought this one specifically to test. So we will be testing that, and we will be doing a video as soon as we can sort out our video equipment.
It says connect Coke bottle, but if you have Coke bottle, why are you worried about water?
Because the Coke bottle's empty.
Well, then it's just a bottle.
They're talking about so basically it's the neck size on it and the threading on it will
Yes.
take a Coke bottle type thread. It's quite a big package to have in your bag, but in a EDC kit, I think it'll be quite good. Actually, you know what? Let's open it.
It's similar to the soya that I've got, the filter, except my soya filter is a lot shorter than that. That's very much more like the life straw.
Yeah, this is quite long. This thing's about 20 centimeters long, and it does come with a straw and a lanyard.
Yeah, the straw is actually for extending, so you can suck out of a river. So you put it on the bottle side there, and you can.
And yeah, it comes with some instructions in English. Surprisingly. Yeah, there you go.
English or Chinese English?
It's English. Yeah, so you can stick the straw onto the end, or it's got a threaded section, which is a cap, and then you've got an end that looks like a whistle.
So they reckon you can do 550 milliliters a minute, and you can do 1,500 liters. Its lifespan.
No, that's not too bad. I think this cost me $120.
The soya, I think, is
It's 10,000
yeah. It's like a stupid,
gallons.
a stupid amount.
Yeah, no, the soya is the best. I've got a soya as well.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool system.
But yeah, water filtration, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, actually in Africa in general, is definitely a must.
Yeah, I've used my soya just for town water, just to take out the things.
Our water in town at the moment is that you have a shower and all you can smell is chlorine.
Yeah, that's probably because there's something else in the water they're trying to kill.
Yeah, I saw a recent report from the Neisner estuary
Yeah.
on the E. coli levels, and that was very scary. I actually put it up onto our Discord, I think, which we're still busy trying to sort out properly. Yeah, next thing is a pair of medical shears. These are not, super heavy duty. It does say stainless steel. They are powder coated, plastic handle. Slight serration to the edge will get through clothing, but I don't know how long they'll stay sharp. But in an emergency, if I had to cut a pair of jeans off or something, I'm sure they'd do the job.
Yeah.
Look, those aren't Victorinox medical shears.
They got a bit of the like basically sheet metal that had been stamped, so they got a stiffening stamp marks, and they made slightly serrated so that they would help grip the
fabric.
Yeah, I think it'll probably do what you want it to do, but if you're going to be having multiple packs, and the packs you bought didn't come with shears themselves, having a lot of those things, especially, I mean, how much was that ish?
$50.
Oh, might be a little much.
Yeah,
I bought these tiny little, they're not shears, they're tiny little sewing.
The sewing scissors, the folding sewing scissors.
Tiny little ones.
Yeah.
And they fold down, the handles fold over the blade and stuff. And I think I paid $10 for them. So I bought a whole bunch because it's nice for if you're doing small cutting, whether it's plaster or something. It's just way easier than trying to use a knife.
This set is going into my first aid kit because that big first aid kit I've got actually didn't come with scissors.
Okay.
It did come with scissors, but they're really dinky, cheap things. These are actually way better quality than that came with. So these are going into my first aid kit.
Okay, nice.
Then I bought some old school glow sticks. We used to call them the Siloom light sticks, not the ones the ravers use, those thin ones. These are the proper thick ones with a glass tube inside.
Yes.
We tested this on the camp that I was on, and it lit up the tent, a 3x3 meter tent that I could read.
Okay, nice. How long did it last?
10 hours. It did dim over that time. But as a chemical light stick it worked very nicely.
When last have you read for 10 hours?
No, I don't read for 10 hours. I'm just saying it lasted for 10 hours. So yeah, I haven't seen these big ones like this in years. They didn't come individually foil packed like they used to. Obviously, these are now made in China. But yeah, got a little envelope with 10 of them in it. And it's got a hook on it. It hangs. You can hang it in a tree or whatever. Yeah, I was actually pretty impressed.
As an emergency thing, like in your
they're
car
awesome.
or something, they're amazing. But practically, they're a waste compared to like a torch or something.
No,
a
a good torch is going to be like in my EDC. I've got 3 torches.
Yeah,
but to have this as an extra thing, I've got now 10 of them. Well, 8 left, and I can put them into different kits and there's always a source of light now.
So now, what way do you have to protect it from being crushed?
It's quite a hard plastic. You actually have to flex it. You've got to break the glass tube inside. So you've got to flex the whole thing. So if you just have this in the bottom of your ammo box, it'll be fine. Okay. You could drop stuff on top of it and it'll be good.
It'll be interesting.
I really like them.
It'll be interesting to see if you cycle through hot and cold, how long it stays able to work.
I'll do some research on that.
Yeah. But as emergency lighting, it's awesome.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm going to be scattering these throughout my kits. Not cheap. The pack was about 150 Rand for 10.
Okay.
But I'm very happy to have these. I've been wanting to get them for quite a while now. Then the thing that I've been most curious about, and I was going to try it on the camp that I was on, but I just didn't get around to it. This is called a salt water lamp. I don't know if you've seen one of these.
No.
This is something very new to me. I've never seen this before. It's essentially an LED light that doesn't have batteries.
Okay.
It's a foil bag, or plastic bag, sorry, with a built-in electronics component on the front of it. Inside are 2 anodes of different metals.
Yes.
And it comes with 2 little sachets of salt, but you could just use sea salt. That's the salt there, and you put water in, you pour the little packet of salt in, seal the bag up, give it a shake so the salt dissolves, and a chemical reaction happens between the two different anodes.
Well, anode and cathode.
Anode and cathode, and it's reusable up to a certain point, and it gives, they say, up to 400 hours of light.
For intermittent use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got an on-off switch. If you're not using it, you pour the water out, give it a rinse, and you can use it again. They're not cheap. I think that was 150, 180 bucks, somewhere around there.
I wonder if they're working on its lifespan more about how much salt they give you than how much lifespan it has. Because obviously it's being used up.
Yes.
Because they said, one bag of salt, you put it in here. They said 2 to 4 salt bags will be more brighter. So obviously...
It'll more of a reaction, yeah.
Yeah. So that's quite interesting, especially if it works like they say. I mean, I assume it has no batteries in whatsoever.
There's nothing in there.
Yeah. Be interesting if they had put a little capacitor in here that you can charge up.
So that is something we will definitely be testing, because I've seen them advertised quite a lot on different websites lately.
Yes.
It's obviously a fairly new technology. I think that's probably military that's been converted to civilian use. It's got that kind of look to it. But yeah, this is something that I am very, very interested in as an area light. Because battery, from a prepping point of view, batteries are always a problem. Unless you've got rechargeables that can recharge off solar or something like that. Having good electric light is always an issue.
Yeah, it says that it can be used, be reused for up to 70 days if emptied, cleaned, and stored between uses.
Yeah.
So obviously this thing does have a definite lifespan when open.
Once open, yeah.
Yeah.
But as gadgets go, that one really got my interest.
Does it have a lifespan? Stored on the shelf for 5 years. So basically you can take this thing, shove it in your Go system, your bug out system, and if you ever need light,
yeah,
you have it.
And you don't have to worry about batteries.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would in theory have your torches and headlamps on you and in your EDC.
Yeah.
And that would be like to...
And as with everything, so it says it's got a 5-year shelf life. The only way to test that is to keep one for 5 years and see what happens in 10 years' time.
Well, if everything is dry, there should be two metals, the cathode and anode, and that should be fine. As long as those metals are still there, they will be fine. And as they react with each other, I think probably what's like galvanic reaction or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just transfers electrons from one side to the other that you utilize.
Yeah, so I think as prepping gadgets go, this is actually probably one of the most useful ones that I got with this lot, apart from the life straw.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're talking about light and really useful, it's that little wind-up job that you've got.
Yes.
Or the other...
The crank torch.
Yeah, and you also got the back... what's the nice name for it? A backwards and forwards shaking torch.
The shakeable torch, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And
that doesn't get very bright, though. It just gives you a very dim light.
But it's light. And in pitch black, that is bright.
I use that. That thing's sitting on the counter out here. And now with load shedding up again this weekend. Stage 6, can you believe it? Yeah, that torch and everything's now on. Well, we're currently in load shedding. But yeah, as soon as 2 o'clock hits, we'll be putting things back on charge.
Well, as soon as you guys hit 2 o'clock, as soon as I go home, I'm in a different
you're a different time zone. But yeah, so that was pretty much everything that I got.
What's the green thing?
I showed this to you last time. I think this is the bivvy.
Oh,
the emergency bivvy. But there is one other thing that I bought that I'm very keen to try. And that's in this box down here.
Where did that compass come from?
Yeah. Didn't we go through the compass? Yeah, that's
I mean, you said you had a compass to unlost yourself in your garden, so it's got the different scales on it.
Yep. It's well made, and it works. We tested it against a regular compass that was bought from Cape Union Mart.
No, it's a nice little thing.
Yeah, $120.
Yeah, that's sweet.
But yeah, my most expensive purchase of the thing was in this box here. And this is one that I'm very excited to use. This is a canning equipment set.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to just haul everything out here. It's got all the little bits and bobs.
To save your fingers.
Yeah. Sorry about the noise. Two wide mouth funnels, some different tongs and clamps and
the tongs and clamps, like wherever you grip a bottle, is rubberized.
It's all rubberized. Check that one out.
Yeah, that's to get the jar out of the
hot water. Yeah,
the pot. Yeah, and there's another one here for gripping it and turning it over to pour stuff.
Yeah.
So
what I'm most excited about is the wide neck funnels.
Okay.
For putting stuff into a jar.
Yes.
Which are very cool. And then for the guys using the mason jars, there's a little magnetic lid, so you don't have to stick your hand in the hot water.
Oh, nice. That is.
And it's for tamping stuff down.
Is that graduated?
And it's graduated on the other side, yeah.
So you can figure out, what is that? Oh, how much headroom you need.
Yeah.
So it's all in inches, a quarter, half, 3/4, and 1 inch
headroom. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Cool. I think this whole lot cost me $250.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will be trying that out. I did some pickling of some things before Christmas, and you had an opportunity to try them today.
Yeah, and as you hear, I died.
Tragically. Absolutely terrible, yeah. So I did some pickled carrots, julienne carrots.
Yeah, they were nice. They had, what, mustard seed with it?
White mustard seed, garlic, black peppercorns, and chili.
Yeah.
With a salt and vinegar brine.
Oh, the chili wasn't very prominent.
Surprisingly, I was expecting it to be a lot stronger, yeah. I just used one chopped up chili and 1 clove of garlic. I could probably use more to enhance those flavors.
And I mean, they held the color. They were still slightly crunchy.
Yeah, that's now
very nicely tasting.
Over 3 months those have been in the cupboard.
Yeah,
they were very nice. They hadn't gone gooey or pop.
Yeah,
soft. They, like I said, they still had crunch to them. I didn't cook them. They were raw carrots that I put in the jar. It's a sterilized jar. Put the carrots and all the ingredients in there. Made the brine and then poured the brine in.
Hot brine, or did you
hot brine?
Okay.
Yeah. So the jar was in hot water.
Yes.
With all the stuff in it, and then I poured the brine straight into it. That's where these wide mouth funnels would have been a lot more useful. I wouldn't have had to pour it all over the place. So yeah, your first impression of them?
They were delicious.
Very nice.
Well, I have to say, you did them a disservice, because the first thing you made me try was blueberries.
Pickled blueberries.
Man, those things are awesome. I love blueberries. So the carrots were awesome tasting, but they came in dead second.
So I should have given you desserts afterwards instead of beforehand.
Definitely. And then we had cake with blueberries on top of it, so it was my type of day, you know.
Yeah, that was for mowing my lawn. Thank you again. But yeah, the pickled blueberries was an interesting one because that was a sweet pickle.
Yeah.
So it used less vinegar and salt, but it used like half a cup of sugar.
They were nice.
Also done as a hot brine. And then with the blueberries, I had a couple of cloves, some cardamom.
Even the cardamom tasted awesome because it just charred through the pod.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, it tastes really nice.
Most people push that to one side. You ate it.
Yeah, normally when you cook the stuff, it's got a very, very strong, sharp taste. This was just really nice tasting.
Yeah.
It was still fibrous, but it was awesome.
So I'll be putting those 2 recipes up on our Facebook and our Discord server.
You got to take pictures before we eat it all.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, we will, with our website, which is coming along, we will be having a recipes page, I think.
Yes.
And also, obviously, I'll put everything onto Facebook. We are trying to get video equipment sorted out so we can start doing videos and editing videos and having some shorts up. So if I'm going to do any pickling or dehydrating or anything like that, or we're testing any equipment, we can actually do it on camera. The disadvantage of a podcast is its audio. So yeah, we're going through all these gadgets and you guys can't see them. So for this episode, I will be putting photos of everything we've spoken about up onto the Facebook page so everybody can see it. But yeah, otherwise, anything else from your side?
Well, on the video side of things, anybody listening knows of really cool video editing software, especially ones that are professional-like but don't cost an arm and a leg.
And don't need 2 years of college to learn how to use.
Yeah, that too. And in Brett's case, maybe doesn't need a computer that requires a huge amount of processing power.
Yeah, my poor laptop, it's 10 years old. It really needs to be replaced.
Yes. I don't think any TLC will...
No. This guy is... it's good for watching 720p videos, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are looking at evolving into more... keeping the audio format, but putting things onto things like YouTube and doing shorts and that sort of thing. Yeah. That's where we're looking at going.
It would definitely be nice, say if we do a cook and try or whatever taste test type of thing, we can actually put videos up showing the product or photos up showing it while we're talking about it, and might even get to a point where we're live on camera. I still have to get to a point where I'm
on camera at all. Never mind live on camera.
I don't mind something being aimed at me, but yeah, it's get there slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So
cool, dude. I think that'll be all for today.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining me again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I was offered some more cake earlier, so I think I'm going to head that way.
Cake and coffee. I'm pretty sure there's a bottle of vodka with my name on it, though.
Yeah, I'll take the coffee.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Anyway, awesome seeing you again, dude.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for everybody for listening.
Yep.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Off-Grid Survival. For more info and updates, feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Off-Grid Survival ZA. That's it for now. We will see you next time. And always remember, be prepared. Off-Grid Survival is a member of the South African Podcasters Guild. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the speakers and may not reflect OGS Media or the Guild's views. We aim for accuracy but cannot guarantee it. Please verify information independently. Consult professionals before acting on any advice given during these episodes. By listening, you acknowledge that we are not responsible for any damages resulting from reliance on our content. All content is provided without warranty.